Hello, and welcome back to Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. Today, there's still a bunch more hub quests I'm going to be doing. It'll be a mix of monster hunts and gathering to get through it all together, but... Oh, the feline hostler triggering is not the ideal. Was it hostler? Hassler would make more sense, but... Anyway, there's a lot of these to do. I'm gonna start with the Gia Prey, because I'm pretty sure, or Giadrome. I'm pretty sure this was not in low rank, even though it's no different than a Velocidrome. And if it is, it's like very minor. But today will be just this. I kind of feel like I should try to think of, stuff to talk about. Look, oh yeah. I'll live with it, that's fine. I'll lose a ton of stamina. Because I forgot it was going to be a cold area, because obviously it is, because it's a Giadrome, which is a cold Velocidrome. But, I don't know. For some reason I'm thinking about... Okay, so it does shoot that, at least. Popos. But, for some reason I'm thinking about, there's a... Well, it's not a food, but it is a... condiment? A sauce? That... Only semi-recently did I actually learn its name. It's often used... It's a Lebanese sauce condiment that I believe is pronounced toum. It's like T-O-U-M in English. It was always assumed that it was just, garlic sauce, because it tastes a lot like, it's incredible. Well, no. It often tastes incredibly strongly of just like garlic, sort of. I don't know if it's raw-ish flavor, but it's very strong. At least the ones used for shawarma in the area where I grew up. Which is what it's, at least my experience, that's its primary use case. Which is actually kind of it's an interesting food, because different areas have different, and this is not talking about, from the Middle East, North Africa regions. Though I think it's mostly Middle East, Lebanon. I think that counts as the Middle East. It's just kind of a weird... I think it's right on the border. But it's not on the continent, so it should be Middle East. It's like the west of the Middle East, I think. But anyway, within places that I have been, it can vary a lot, and that's not even including its place of origin, which might not be specifically Lebanon, I'm not sure. That's just the... so it's labeled as Western Asia, which makes sense more than Middle East. Makes a lot more sense than calling it... Wait, but it... This Saudi Arabia, which is just a little bit south, is called the Middle East. It's part of the Middle East, but it's West Asia, located in the center of the Middle East. What is the Middle East then? So yeah, it is. Lebanon is in the Middle East. I thought it included a little bit further east than this. I guess it wouldn't. I guess there's like one more country to the east that I thought it might encompass. Anyway, it is in the Middle East, but it's actually not in the northwesternmost. Turkey's the northwesternmost. Anyway. Yeah, shawarma is a Middle Eastern dish that originated in the Levantine region, which does include Lebanon. Which it's it's a tasty food. But even there's a lot of variety in weird ways. Like, there's some areas where it's fairly common to have it sold as like rice on the bottom, then meat, then covered in sauces that don't actually include toum. Again, I'm not confident on the pronunciation. Like, it doesn't include that. It includes a garlicky sauce, but it's nowhere near. It's a very different style of sauce. It just covers it, and you eat it with a fork or a spoon. In some places, which I think this is kind of just general, there's other weird things that are included. Like French fries, which is kind of weird. It's easy. I mean, it's a wrap-based food. And if the primary defining characteristic is the meat that is cooked on a rotating skewer, I actually should definitely paintball, because even if I won't lose track of it, if the second one spawns, I need to know which one I'm trying to kill. Like, as a wrap-based food, it has a lot more flexibility. And if the primary defining characteristic is the cooking style of the meat, which it might not be. I'm not actually sure what the primary defining characteristic is. Yeah, it looks like the meat... The meat is the defining characteristic, not it being eaten in a wrap. It's just, I think, eating it in a wrap is a very common form, except in places where the most common seems to be eating it with sauce on rice, which rice is a fairly common element. Other common elements, at least to me, like pickled turnips are pretty nice. Very strong. Oh shoot, it is good that I paintballed because it's a shortcut. Pickled turnips make for a nice crunch in a wrap. Okay. I just really want to eat. It's always a tasty food. Like, the best one, the best shawarma comes from a grocery store, basically. which not objective best, but it's either a grocery store or a place that I can't go to anymore because I don't live anywhere near. That is very clearly like a small family-run restaurant, as opposed to like a chain. Chains can be fine, but there's a chain that's fairly common in a few areas. I don't know where it is everywhere though. I can't remember. Yes, I remember. I'm just kind of running around. Where does this... Yeah. Near Toronto. In Ontario, Canada. There's a restaurant that... I tried it like once or twice and it was always really dry. It's not very good. Maybe it's good. Maybe I just got unlucky. It's sort of the nature of any sort of chain. Especially a chain that isn't gonna be as structured. Because, I mean, if they're actually cooking the meat, then it's not the same as hamburger patties that are just put on a grill. It's much more... Ooh, wow, that's a large Great Macau. It's much more, prone to user error. It's like... It's not... You can't know as clearly... Which, I mean, even those sorts of fast food places, restaurants can mess up. Kind of... I'm surprised that the mount has not occurred yet. It must be one hit away. Oh, no, it isn't. Is this some, like, Super Macau? Like, not just bigger, but different in other stats as well? It could just be a coincidence. And it could be completely random. And I could be misjudging the amount of mounting damage. Oh well. It's probably going to the other zone on the far side. Yeah, like, different foods. Like, the way foods can vary from region to region is a lot of fun. Tacos al pastor, supposedly. According to Wikipedia. I don't know if I trust them. What are they referencing with this? Was apparently developed from the influence of shawarma. I don't really know what tacos al pastor is specifically. Oh, no, it's just cooking it on a spit. That's definitely, almost certainly true. How did I not get to the other side there? Oh, not a spit. A spit is generally the sideways rotating, not vertical. Though it's probably still a spit. It's a very weird... I don't know if there's many food. Oh no. I didn't know if there were many food Wikipedia articles that in like the descriptive blurb specifically referenced cities that didn't have anything to do with like the origin. But then Tacos Al Pastor makes a reference to Baja California, where it has a different name? Wait. Carme Al Pastor on a Trompo. Are those vertical spinning? A trompo is a type of top, which means the name used there is probably a reference to the toy which is popular in Latin America. That's kind of cool. It's not like super... Why'd I get times 1.5 on some of those? Yeah, trompos are not specific to there. It's just a specific type of top where you wind string around it, you pull the cord, and it spins. Which is fun. I don't think you do that when you're cooking meat, but I guess time for some gather. No, not gathering. I'll do small monster. So yeah, the name Trompo though came from Latin America. Okay, it's Jaggies and Jaggias, not one or the other. There's a lot of names for these types of tops. And in the Trompo article at the top of Wikipedia links to a corresponding article in Spanish from March 2009. Which is kind of cool. It's also way longer. It's neat. Just the, you know, I don't search other language Wikipedia. It's fun to see things that are like different and not just every Wikipedia. I mean, it'd be better if every Wikipedia had every bit of information from every language, but it's interesting to see the differences. Like, there's probably articles in... I believe that Cantonese and Mandarin both use Chinese writing. Like, it's simplified Chinese works for both, and then it's some minor difference. I don't actually know. I know that it's definitely different spoken, but I think the term for the written, or at least the term for the symbols used, is just Chinese. just to be more general because they're used in both, maybe? I'm not actually sure. What about there's entire articles that exist in that language, not necessarily originating from in China, because I don't know about enough. I assume Wikipedia is not the type of thing that would be banned. Like YouTube and stuff are officially banned, but I don't know if Wikipedia is. But like, even if it isn't, people who don't live on mainland China, probably is better, could set up, that should have hit, set up articles about their own, things that they themselves actually know because, different life. What is... Okay. But yeah, the differences between them is kind of interesting to think about. Like, I wonder if there's specific articles for any of... Okay, so large languages. Spanish is pretty big. French is smaller, I believe. Because I think it wasn't that long ago I looked at the most languages, and like English is the most used language as secondary language. Where I can't remember if the list simply listed Chinese, so grouping Cantonese, Mandarin, and any other less common dialects. Do those qualify as dialects? Or is it a different, language entirely, or a different spoken language entirely? It is a traditional prestige variety. I don't know what that means. Prestige is a level of regard normally accorded a specific language or dialect. So it was a higher class language? Prestige varieties are languages or dialect families which are generally considered by society to be the most correct. It's not like a variant, it's the default. Default, quote unquote. Or treated as such. There are exceptions, particularly in situations of covert prestige, where a non-standard dialect is highly valued. Isn't there's something about Bhutan royal language? I thought. There's some that could be some myth that existed at some point, though. I'm not actually sure. Could also be somewhere else entirely. So Cantonese is a prestige variety of Yue. Actually, Jue? Maybe with a J? Jue? Chinese? But it is a branch of the Sinitic languages. Then what is Mandarin? Is it another branch of the language? It is a group of Chinese language dialects that are natively spoken across most of northern and southwestern China and Taiwan. Mandarin is a collection of dialects? I mean, aren't all languages a collection of dialects? Sort of, like, if there are multiple dialects. Because, yeah, a regional or social variety of a language distinguished by pronunciation, grammar, or vocabulary. So a dialect is always going to be like a smaller part of a language. But I guess there's maybe a case where in this scenario they're defining it differently because they're very different. And then standard Chinese is... I bet you could spend hours figuring out all this language stuff. All the different languages spoken, how they... Oh wait, this is a... I have to hunt specific monsters and then harvest them. So Mandarin is the main language. Cantonese is not the official language of mainland China. Isn't it kind of official language of mainland China? Just like, I guess the reason for that is the whole dispute, well, I mean, except dispute surrounding like Taiwan. Like everything involving that. Like it's not part of the mainland China. Because it's an island. But they claim that it is still... It's all the claims surrounding what is and isn't, you know, controlled by who. One oil. This is going to be slow if it's a 25% drop. Oh, hello, Celtus. I don't know where Slagtoths live. No, they're in 4. It feels like they should be in 3. Okay, they are. Kind of languages are fun. Different, you know, styles of different speech, different scripts. Raw meat, the least useful drop imaginable. Actually, the hide plus might be less useful than raw meat. I'm not actually sure. I think this is not a good quest. List of writing systems. Abjad? Abugida, alphabetic and logographic and syllabic, but with a weird L in brackets. Oh, logographic or logographic, not logographic, like logo sort of spelling. What is Abugida that has Canadian syllabics? Is that Inuit? Indigenous Algonquin Inuit. Makes sense. Abugida. Abugida. Seems correct as a pronunciation, more or less. Just let me jump off this side of the wall instead of having to go over here. Oh, that was funny. I was actually kind of hoping that would happen. It's interesting to see stuff about languages. I don't know a lot about language, but it's one of those things that's kind of... It's at least kind of interesting to see facts and some context about why things might have developed in the way they did. Rude. Please just give me all of this. I might not be able to harvest all these. They might disappear too quickly, I'm not sure. But the Abjad is limited to Arabic and Hebrew. Get out of here, Celtus. No one likes you. No one likes you, Celtus. No one likes you, Celtus. You've doomed another Slagtoth to death. To death. Okay, it didn't give me anything useful anyway. What's that big rumble? But writing is kind of neat. I think this is a bad quest so far. Like, I have 4 out of 10. Okay, it doesn't look like there's anything here. Which means it's basically 2, 4, 5? 2, 4, 3. 2, 4, 3. I think 7 might have had it. I can't really remember. I still have to check 1 again because I'm not sure. And I still haven't checked 10, but 10 is unlikely. There's some... Oh wait, I was going to do zone 10. Oh well. There was something that I heard about the evolution in like English adjacent language of punctuation. Or apparently it started with just dots, but their meaning was determined by their location, like vertically. I kind of think I should search that. This is really not a good quest. If it was like a 50% drop rate, it wouldn't be a terrible quest. But it is definitely not 50%. it's much closer to like 15, or I've gotten unlucky, which has happened many times before. Oh, like that one silver cricket quest, where silver crickets had a similar drop rate to the other things that I was getting, but I basically filled up my inventory on something that was of a similar rarity before I got a single silver cricket. Good. Good. Still need 4 more though. Wonderful. Good RNG here. Yes, so according to a BBC article, in the 3rd century BCE, in Alexandria, a librarian named Aristophanes was first person to start doing punctuation related stuff. And it didn't necessarily have a large reaching impact right away. I'm not sure. So yes, annotations at top, middle, and bottom to indicate stopping length. Which is kind of fun. I would hate it. Like, oh, that was funny. I believe my palico just flashed on the screen there for a second. But the idea of having to learn the, like, correct positioning as a child for those sorts of things instead of just, oh, yeah, just put a dot at the bottom, and that's a full stop, or a period. Put a squiggly, slightly curved thing at the bottom. It's a comma. Though commas are still kind of relatively difficult to place perfectly. By relative, I mean very difficult to place perfectly. But, like, physically, the challenge isn't physically placing them, where if you're learning as a kid, yes, top, middle, bottom is fairly easy, but, oh, being lazy, the middle is a little lower, the bottom is a little higher, then they merge together, and it's, which do you want here? Oh, you're not writing it quite right, and It's not a hard thing to learn, but it is a harder thing to learn. But apparently that's the point at which it started. Punctuation, in at least that context. I wasn't counting it out of 10, good. But then it's like the migration of the dots for modern well, semi-modern, because it would have begun a long time ago, is like the top one became the dot that was at the bottom. So, like, in the system there were, you know, top, middle, bottom. The top one was the longest, the bottom one was the shortest. So the top dot became the bottom dot for like a full stop. It's kind of funny. Makes sense. I don't know why it all became drawn at the bottom. I'm not reading because I'm not quite that interested. Terrible? Maybe not bad. I don't know what carnivore does. I think it's time to do another actual hunt. Except again, Beastro to get G despite not being in G rank. Kind of weird. But yeah, food is good. Because that's what I was originally talking about. So many bad quests. There's a 20 Bullfango and then there's a 30 Bullfango and Renoplos quest. You don't need both of those. It's just so silly. I don't think I want to do a Cepha drone. I could do a Hermitor. I'll do Yankutku. I can do a Yankutku and a Buldrum probably in about 15 minutes. I didn't actually check where I was hunting it. Step. Okay, that's fine. Where do I think a Yankutku would be? Obviously not right in front of me. I can go up. It's probably not in the icy area though. And then, oh no, this mountain's awful. I'm not climbing this. But food is cool. Like, it's also kind of interesting how, you know, foods are influenced by local context. Like, you know, American / Canadian Chinese food will often, wait, oh yeah, I'm going north. Will be different than, you know, traditional. I think it's still possible to get fairly traditional, but especially traditional stuff that's kind of tame. And it's kind of reminded me of how, like, the incorporation of different, you know, foods and ingredients is kind of interesting on the question of, like, traditional foods. Because, like, it's all about drawing a line at which point something is or isn't traditional. 'Cause, like, chili peppers, pretty sure they're not native to Eastern Asia. They're from South America, Central America. It's like any use of those. If you go far enough back, it's like, it's not really traditional. But you just kind of have to, there's a line at which point it's like, it doesn't really matter. It's been around long enough where the use in foods is, oh, okay, I didn't expect that, I don't know why. Just let me throw a paintball. Where the use in foods is sort of like not untraditional. Because I mean, tradition kind of entirely is just something that was done in the past and has been done for an extended period of time. Because I mean, even on a smaller scale, a family could have a tradition it's only been a couple years. Of course, on a cultural scale, you probably don't call something that's only been done for a year or two actually, no. Like, a start of a tradition, it's still a tradition. It's like if a country, which is not, it's a broader, but if a country started every February, they started polar bear swims suddenly, and it's only been done a couple times. It's not a long-standing tradition, but it still could be called a tradition. Which I guess is where, instead of traditional, the word authentic can come into play when it comes to foods. Which isn't like, it's also kind of like, it doesn't matter that much. It can matter. It's not like super important. A lot of American Chinese food is perfectly fine. Some of it's a little, it's a ball of chicken that's fried with a red sauce. I don't know what the red sauce is, and I don't think I've eaten it more than twice. But like, I'm pretty sure that's not a traditional Chinese food, but food in China more than Chinese food. But also it is just fried chicken that is fried in a ball. I mean, food. I'm just stuck on food because I'm very hungry right now. Food, if it tastes good and is, appropriately, not even necessarily appropriately healthy, but if it tastes good and it's good to eat, that's the most important part. Because even if it's not healthy or nutritious, there's still a purpose to it if it tastes good. It's better if it's, healthy, nutritious, because then if it's delicious, nutritious, etc., then you don't need to worry. You can just eat it forever. I love supplies arriving as the monster's about to die. No! I didn't actually expect it to die here. I expected it to get away. But I was hoping for not flying away. But food is fun. And food is on my mind because I'm hungry. So I can't think about anything but food. And I mean the monster I'm hunting right now. I bet a Yankutku is the type of animal that people would say tastes like chicken. Whether it actually did is probably unlikely. Given that I don't know a ton I do know that turkey and chicken don't taste the same. And so this creature that's really... I don't know if... It's not super bird-like, because it doesn't even have feathers. Don't do this. But it might taste similar to chicken. I don't know. On the topic of Chinese food, the Yankutku's legs could have a similar appeal, question mark, with like chicken feet, which will circulate at like dim sum places that are reasonably. I am fairly confident. I'd be surprised to learn, I should actually check, that I'd be surprised to learn that chicken feet was an American Chinese food invention. Just because it has a little bit less of that obvious mass market appeal. And honestly, I've tried it once. I think the only thing, the thing that's bad about chicken feet is it's just kind of pointless. Like, they're just a vehicle for whatever sauce or flavoring, because it's basically just chicken skin, kind of. Yeah. Most of the edible tissue on the feet consists of skin and tendons with no muscle, so it doesn't have like the meat element. They're not gross. They just don't really provide that, I don't know, filling nature. And they don't really fit to me with like a breakfasty lunch meal, because it's very fatty, might not be the right word. Like it's sort of a heavy sort of thing to eat. Which I'll eat basically anything at like a breakfasty lunch type time, but this was not the right food, I think. Yep, polisher is not what I needed. Anyway, I'm just gonna do the Buldrum. Arctic Ridge. But, yeah. Yeah, Yankutku's very scaly. It presumably has stuff under the scaly skin, kind of like chickens do. It's a weird animal to eat. And it's kind of a question. Obviously, focusing on eating the animals is kind of weird, but like, I've never eaten any form of any reptile or amphibian. But I wonder if like dinosaur type creatures are more reptile in how they are, taste, texture, whatever. Like the muscle and everything formations. It was a big Buldrum. Oh, and it's a high rank Buldrum, so it's gonna have the bonus charge occasionally. That, I think, was the bonus charge at the end there. Because normally they don't charge like that. This is cursed. I had no way to survive that. That was impossible. It was doomed, not cursed. I love when monsters do basic charges and they can just stun lock you. I think high rank Buldrum is actually kind of annoying. Because he's still not hard, he's still just charging. But compared to low rank, he'll turn 90 degrees to charge you. Where I think normal Buldrum will only turn, I don't know, 45. A non-charge attack. What is this Buldrum? I've never met this that was very short. I've never met this monster before. It attacked without charging me. I'm shocked. It must be that it's just weak points all over its body. It must just be every part of its body is just very weak. Like no resistance in its life. Okay, I'm looking for the Kiriniko Genu Buldrum. Yes. Body part head, body part body. 80 slash, 70 slash. If I go for Yankutku, it is 56 slash for head, 42 neck, 33, 66, 60, 80 for wings, 28 for feet. Those numbers, other than the wings, are so much lower. Like, that's why Buldrum is so weak. It's just weak points everywhere. And especially right now, because anywhere I hit it, I'm getting weakness exploit for 50% affinity, no matter where I hit. And it just dies. So that's why it's such a squishy monster, not its HP total, which is fairly normal. It just takes a lot more damage. But that'll be it for today. I'm gonna go eat because I'm hungry. And I shouldn't be talking about food when I'm hungry, because that makes me even hungrier. So, hope you have a nice day. Bye-bye.